Hello everybody, my name is Ulrich with YouFixIt, and today I'm going to be showing you how to use solder in order to create a reliable connection with your wires. I'm going to be using the example of my wiring harness for my 2000 GMC Sierra, and you're going to want to make sure that you're in a well-ventilated area. First thing you're going to need is a soldering iron. You could either use this fine tip soldering iron or this soldering iron gun. The gun is great for thick wire, and the other one is great for smaller wire. So that's what I'm going to use. The previous owner of this truck used butt connectors in order to connect the wires. I personally think it's great for testing, but as you can see, the cables can easily fall off or can be yanked off pretty easy, just like in this example. So I think it's best to just cut these off and use solder instead. Just going to cut these as close to the metal as possible so that way I get as much wire. If you haven't connected them before, make sure to read the color-coded instructions that the wiring harnesses come with. And now these are ready to solder. The solder that I'm going to be using is a lead 6040. I think it tends to go on a little bit easier, but just make sure to wash your hands after. The solder is rosin core, but we're still going to use rosin flux paste to make things a little easier. Make sure you have heat shrink ready or electrical tape. And of course your preference in wire strippers. So to prep the wire harness, we're just going to cut any extra wire and then strip off the ends. Make sure to not cut off any strands, otherwise it'll increase the resistance and make the cable go hot. If you do cut multiple strands, then make sure to recut the wires and then strip them again. I'm cutting off about 1 inch on each wire. Next I'm going to grab some heat shrink. Make sure that it's close to the size of the wire so that way it shrinks well, not leaving any gaps. And I'm just going to go ahead and put heat shrink on all the wires. We're going to make sure that they're roughly about the same length. Then we're going to clamp them down using our helping hands and then bring them together. You want to fan out the wire and then make sure that they cross and then twist them. Grab some flux and then put it around the wire. Now the trick here is to grab our soldering iron and then put it underneath the cable until the rosin starts bubbling, and then you know that it's ready for solder. Then you grab your solder wire and then place it on top. Then you just gotta wait until it starts melting on top. Be careful not to breathe in these fumes because they are toxic. You don't need a lot, just enough to cover the area. And with a wet sponge or a Scotch-Brite, just wipe off the soldering iron. Be sure to do this with each cable. Make sure to inspect the wire after, make sure it's all soldered. Then put the heat shrink over, and with a heat gun or a lighter, then you just melt the heat shrink. Now to save on time, I'm just going to do this with every single wire and with some editing magic. Now all of our cables are heat shrinked, soldered, and ready to go. So the last thing that we're going to do, and what I like to do, is just make sure everything's cleaned up. So we're just going to use some Tesa tape in order to clean up the wiring. Just grab it and wrap it all around the wiring. And here's our finished product. I left the remote wire out because we're going to be hooking up an amp to it. So I'm going to have this out because I'm going to be doing something different with it. But now this is ready to go back in the truck. And that's it, everybody. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like the videos, then please leave a like. And if you want to see this channel grow, then consider subscribing and sharing to your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.